Hey guys, welcome back to an all new episode of Comics Unchained. I'm your host, Sergio Sanchez, and joining me, as always, is the lovely, handsome
Oh,
Christopher
all right.
Lee.
Should I be introducing myself, or do you want me to introduce?
You know what? I think we're just gonna play it by ear, week to
Okay.
week. We'll just do it like
Okay.
that. I don't really care. This is so if you guys haven't tuned in before, welcome to our show where we talk about what's going on in comic books and if they're worth your money to pick up some of the series that are going on right now. And we actually have a couple of I have a few good books to review today. Chris has one that he's really excited about, and we'll see what's going on. So we got a nice little variety today. You know what? I was going through our list
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of Marvel stuff
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah. That's what I did notice.
So I did manage to pick up the one DC book that I'm going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about, and I was really excited about it. So let's just jump right into it. Do you want to take the reins first?
No, you go first. You go. It's your show.
All right. So, okay, cool. So, should we jump in with the bad or the semi-bad?
It's your show. You tell me what you want to talk about. I am here. I am. Remember, I'm.
All right.
I'm your Ed McMahon. I am your.
Let's jump into the. Let's just jump right into one of the books that I've had a ton of fun reading since issue 1. And while we were getting the show back up together and getting it all figured out how we're going to do it, I was reading this, and this is like, I'm like, dude, like when I get to the show, I really want to do this. And of course, that is the current run of Ghost Rider. Believe it or not, yeah, Ghost Rider, super awesome. I haven't read a Ghost Rider book in a long time. Actually, take that back. I read a Cosmic Ghost Rider. Remember him?
Yeah, it turned out to be Frank Castle, wasn't it?
It was Frank Castle. Yeah, but you
didn't
know
he
what? Like that
didn't
was
he garner didn't he get popular for like a hot minute too?
Well, yeah. I mean, Thanos was his son,
and it.
Yeah.
Wait. Did they retcon that crap and made Thanos ended up being Cosmic Ghost Rider's son?
Like it was like kind of his adopted son. I think that's how it went. I didn't follow the series too much. It's a series I want to go back and read.
Okay,
but it was a lot of fun. But I haven't touched like a Ghost Rider story since that book.
The last Ghost Rider book for me was the Robbie Reyes introduction by I forgot.
Robbie Reyes was
great. When Tradmore left, I'm like, oh, okay. That was about the time I was kind of bailing on a lot of books.
I love the Robbie Ramirez thing, especially when they brought him into S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, dude.
It's a cool concept, and I love that they actually made him separate from, it wasn't just another like Dan Ketch, Johnny Blaze like copy.
Yeah. So this new series is currently running. I would say I believe it started a few months back because it's in the 2022 line. Issue 1's out. I think we're current at issue 8 right now, and that's what I just read. So I'm going to talk about. I'm going to kind of jumble them all together in one big and tell you why you should be reading this series. Now, normally, and Chris kind of agrees with me, and we've talked about it on the show before, we give it a 5. We give it five books, and if you're not telling your story by the time you've done 5 books, time to go.
Don't waste your money.
It could get better later on, and we could always come back to it. But if you can't tell your first good story and there's nothing there, then it's like you're watching a TV show. They haven't hooked you in the first 2 episodes. You're probably not tuning in for
pretty much.
So this book did everything I thought I didn't think a Ghost Rider book could do, and I really enjoyed it. We've got first of all, a really big thing for me is like inner monologuing. Anytime a character has that inner monologue where they're talking to themselves, explaining the actions of what they're doing, it to me it makes a book amazing. Because you take books like Punisher War Journal, you take books like Spider-Man where he's talking to himself, not to the audience, but to himself as the character. I love books like that. I think they're great. It gives you a lot more insight for the character. So it lets you build on that. And they did that in the new Ghost Rider book because Johnny Blaze, of course, struggling with the spirit of vengeance. So let me break it down a little bit for you. Johnny's stuck in this place called Hayden Falls, and you're going to see me looking down at my notes here because I had to make notes because I read 8 books.
Look at you being prepared.
But like you had some great issues because like we get out of Hayden Falls, and of course it's the spirit of vengeance. And they kind of like, has it always been this way, Chris? And this is something I was curious on, and I was going to ask you about it, and I'd like to do it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Spirit of Vengeance kind of like the Incredible Hulk, where him and Johnny Blaze are at ends with each other?
Depends which version. I think with Johnny, considering that he actually has an actual demon, he has Zarathos in him, who isn't.
Yeah.
I think and then later got retconned as not an actual demon, but a fallen angel. So yeah, so there's always they didn't really play with it at first, but Johnny, it's been a while since I've read old school like Ghost Rider, but I did read a lot of it.
Okay.
I do believe that it was like early Venom where he talked about his other version, but it was never like yeah.
Okay, because in this one it's more of like the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a Bruce Banner love-hate relationship in this
Mm-hmm.
one, because like it's Johnny Blaze doesn't necessarily like the writer because the writer puts him in situations that he doesn't want to be in,
Mm-hmm. and
we go from there. So we get introduced to a couple other characters. Of course, we get Zebediah, the dark magician Zebediah,
Mm-hmm.
who is going around. He's like pretty much frees Johnny from his I guess Johnny gets put in like purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was the king of hell because Ghost Rider became king of hell. We find out he gets usurped,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in this like perfect utopia, but it's all surrounded by demons.
Mm-hmm.
Zeb comes and breaks him out. Blah blah blah. More stuff happens. It's really good. Don't let me undersell it by doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's super good. Then we get to a few more issues to where we get introduced to a character who I'm slowly starting to come around to, and I don't know if you've ever heard of her. It's Talia Warroad.
Oh,
And I've
brand
never
new.
heard of the character until now. But she was like former agent of the supernatural version of S.H.I.E.L.D. She gets displaced after S.H.I.E.L.D.'s disbanded, and she's working for the FBI. The FBI taking her and putting her on the Ghost Rider case because at this point now that Johnny Blaze is back in action, mystical shit has been happening everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spirit of Vengeance is destroying everybody that's killing everybody because there's a bunch of people dying and people can't figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes on this mission along with Agent Wilmer, and they're tracking down Johnny Blaze because they're like, okay, the Ghost Rider's got to be part of this. We got to find the Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
In the book, we come across a couple other things. Getting to issue 8, we come across the Circus of Crime, which when you guys get to that issue, holy shit! I mean, Marvel can be dark. We know this, right?
Yeah, they have,
but like
they get their moments. They never get like DC dark though, but they get their moments.
This might have did it because there were some scenes in there with the Circus of Crime,
Mm-hmm.
like that that made me like, wow, okay, they pushed the envelope there. Like
the Circus of Crime.
Okay,
are they tying this back to Johnny's like early days as a Daredevil too?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured.
So it's like these like the ringleaders like manipulating the like every town he's going to,
mm-hmm.
he's deserting the town.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting all the people to gather up, and then they work for the circus, but like they're jumping to their death, or they're like, hey, put your head inside the lion and then chomp. Like it's it was awesome. But let me talk about one of my favorite scenes that had to be out of one of the books I read, and I believe this is issue 6,
mm-hmm.
The Race.
Mm-hmm.
In The Race, you see probably one of my favorite panels I've seen in a long time in comic books, and it's a whole bunch of Marvel villains and heroes on motorcycles. Like, let me
okay.
I'll just paint the picture.
Chris,
Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Dr. Doom on a motorcycle.
Okay, is he on a chopper or is he on like a Kawasaki?
Oh, he's on a chopper.
Okay, that's the only way I see Doom riding, the ape handle style, dude, right?
Dude. Yeah. But I mean, like, like all these characters, right, on these motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted the video on our TikTok page.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, dude, I have to just point this out. Like, it was just a really good panel. You got Wolverine, Black Widows. He goes through like a whole bunch of characters that show up for this race, and if you win the race, you get like one wish from the devil. Which Johnny Blaze knows you don't make a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we find out who the big bad is, finally manipulating everything. But I'm not gonna spoil that. I'm gonna let you guys read it. I want you guys to get to the race. I want you guys to get to Ghost Rider Shadow, which is another character that isn't going to be around long and isn't going to be made to be this like overwhelming character, but it's going to be a good arc where they're going. But I mean, this thing has held me constantly for 8 issues to where I'm picking it up each week, and I'm on issue 8 now.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's a thing, yeah,
that is, therein lies the telltale trait of a good book. Like, you can't wait for the next issue. Those 30 days cannot get here any sooner.
Right. So I gotta say, like, I'm waiting to see the Talia Johnny Blaze romance because we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to rate this 8 out of 10, the artwork's great. Story is amazing. It's got what I want in it, which is inner monologuing, which tells you the story of both the Spirit of Vengeance and Johnny Blaze, because every time they switch, they talk about each other. Everything about this I've loved so far. Go check it out. Solid read. On shelves now, up to issue 8. Please, I'm telling you, if you're gonna spend any of your money right now, backlog anything, go buy this book.
So they're issue 8. There's sure to be a trade out by this point, then, too, right?
Well, here's the thing. So I thought the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There should be a trade out. There's not yet.
Maybe because the storyline's not
because
done?
the story hasn't. No, the story hasn't wrapped yet.
Okay.
It's been going. It's been constantly going since issue 1, so we're still not wrapped up. I got a feeling we're gonna get wrapped up at issue 10, maybe 12.
Okay.
And then they'll release the trade. But I am highly recommending the Ghost Rider 2022 release, issue 1 through 8, right now currently in stores. Go pick it up.
That's
totally worth your money.
It's about the way this trade should be done. Like, because I keep seeing trades now for like, the first 5 issues. I'm like, that's.
I feel like a trade, if it's like that thin,
isn't much of a trade.
Those are close.
Yeah,
look how close that is, Chris.
Yeah,
man, that's
that's close.
When they're that thin, it's just not like.
No,
I get it. Maybe it's $13, but
I understand. I understand.
Give me a little bang for my buck.
I understand. Like, when it's like a 3 or 4 issue thing. Because back in the day when they just did, it wasn't so much about the arcs. It was just mini stories. Like, I'm looking at my copy of The Ballad of Beta Ray Bill. I got the original trade, signed by Walter Simonson, by the way.
Nice.
But it was only 3 issues, so yeah, it's only gonna be like yay thick. But honest, the way they do things today, it's like, just don't. That's what Power Rangers did. It bothered me. They would split up by like 5 issues. I'm like, just wait and put it all out in like one big thing. Nope.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't like when I see that, like, because I go to my comic shop, and he's got trade paperbacks that are like a sliver, and then he's got trade paperbacks that are like like bound, and I'm just like, dude, what happened to those?
I have copies of Something's Killing the Children I haven't read yet, and they were the trades, but they're the same. They're literally the same form. It's just like a thick version of the actual comics. I'm like, the hell is this? And they're just like, that's how they're doing it. I'm like. No. I call shenanigans on this. I keep knocking my damn.
All right. So with that, let's I guess stay in Marvel.
Yeah.
Want to stay in Marvel? All right. So go ahead and let's talk about your book.
All right. Well, I think I've talked about this on one of our first episodes that I'm not buying a ton right now, mostly because
you aren't buying a bunch of books.
No. I was. Just out of obligation, I buy IDW's Godzilla just because I have to, even if I'm not even reading them. To be fair, I haven't read a lot.
Well, this would be for your other podcast, too. So.
Yes, exactly. But the one book I have been constantly buying has been White Knight, Batman Beyond, right now, Beyond the White Knight. And then as we started doing this, Sergio's been on me. It's like, dude, you need to buy some books. I
have not been on you.
Constantly,
I haven't been
just
on you.
The threatening messages at night. Some very aggressive, almost sexually.
Look, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna kill you, but kill you.
But I said, all right, I to add to this a bit, other than just being some fat jackass sitting here commenting. Look, Marvel. I've not bought a mainstream Marvel book in over a year. The last book I did buy was the Beta Ray Bill one because I love Beta Ray Bill. But for the most part, I had washed my hands.
You all should.
Yeah. I had washed my hands of Marvel right before the Secret Wars back in 2015. Like, I was just like, I'm done. I'm done with all this.
The 15 Secret Wars was tough.
Yeah, I
Was
mean,
not good. To me, it was not
I
good.
know people who absolutely love it, and I know people who absolutely hate it. So, for the most part, any books I've been buying have been mostly DC, because I know people are like, yeah, well, I'm like, that's fine. At least they're consistent. Or Marvel was all over the place. That said, Sergio a couple months ago turned me on to something, and I'm just like, God damn it! All right, I might have to pick this up. And now that we're doing this, I bit the bullet. So, Sergio knows me, and my love of comics, which I think I introduced him to back in grade school. There were two books, like much like 80s, 90s kids. There were only two books that I read more than anything else that all 90s kids read. And Sergio, what would those be? Take a guess.
You were, if I remember, I know one is the one we're gonna get to.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, I think the second was X-Men.
There you go. Yes, you're absolutely right.
So, but that, just to let you guys know, there will be an episode we'll do.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably gonna be like an hour long of just this friendship right here. Because God, there's some stories in there. One day I'll still remember Twister, but
God damn it! That's for another. That's another day.
Yes, X-Men, and then the other one is my editor's sitting there looking at me. She goes, gives me this look like, what about Twister? And I'm like, there was a sequel to Twister one day on the playground that me and Chris walked around for about an hour talking about.
No. We walked around. You talked again. That's for another day.
X-Men and the Amazing Spider-Man.
X-Men and the Amazing Spider-Man were my two things, because
mainly in particular because one event was going on when we were in kids that was amazing, and that was the Maximum Carnage going into Maximum Clonage.
There was that, and then X-Men had, I think at the time you and I were friends, Onslaught was deep into its,
one of my favorite characters.
I would read, it's back when Ralph's used to still have a rack. Remember when Ralph's, you could still buy rack? People think rack books, people think rack books went away years ago. No, it was the late 90s when they finally disappeared.
Walmart still has them.
Yes, I appreciate that, but I think the fact,
but I mean, I don't buy them from there.
It's another show for another day, but that's besides the point. That's where I was picking up all this stuff. So X-Men and Spider-Man, and I was fortunate enough. My dad had two buddies that owned comic book stores. One was a dirt shop, one was a real nice shop, but I could get all the back issues I want for cheap because no one wanted that stuff. So I got whole runs of X Factor. I got whole runs of back issues of X-Men, Spider-Man, all that shit. But the thing that always caught my attention, especially with Spider-Man, because I came in at Maximum Carnage, after that was the introduction of Ben Reilly, the clone of Spider-Man. And I remember picking up that book at Ralph's in Norwalk, California. It was the beginning of it was his main introduction. And it was the one where he goes to hunt Venom, and it's the classic pose, where he's swinging like that. But I just remember seeing the red with the hoodie, and something about that captured my goddamn imagination. And from there forth, I became a diehard Ben Reilly fan. And Ben Reilly became a great character in his own right. That Clone Saga was a complete and utter clusterfuck by its very definition. But Ben Reilly came out of it as a fantastic character. And that was actually the Spider-Man for a while I gravitated towards. And even later on, when they resurrected the character in a way with Kane Parker, I thought they did Kane Parker exceptionally well too. So smash cut to X-Men. X-Men's always been great. The last X-Men books I truly read were at the tail end of Brian Michael Bendis' run when they did the Schism, ironically, because we're talking about that. All new X-Men, fantastic.
Every single issue of all new X-Men.
His Uncanny was one of my favorite books in the last 10 years. And even Wolverine and the X-Men. Those three, I was all in on all that stuff going on. And then it all went away, and I'm like, fuck it. I don't want any more.
Yeah.
So now we get to Dark Web. When Sergio, he's like, hey, you might like this. I remember reading the pitch. I'm just like, no, I'm not going to be lured into more bullshit by Marvel. But now I'm doing this podcast, so I'm lured into more bullshit by Marvel. So I picked up Amazing Spider-Man 14, which this bullshit needs to go away. Fuck this noise right here.
What are you looking at?
The constant renumbering, the consistent renumbering. Look, before I go into all this,
I know the renumbering sucks.
Give me 2 seconds in this rant right here. I got a jag. I feel, look, if comics are are afraid of like the high numbers because no one's going to want to jump in, then let's switch to a goddamn volume system now. Every year, this way we can keep some consistency and we can keep artists like writers and artists. They can get a head start on this shit, so we're no more because again, especially big events, so many fucking delays. Let us just 1 year writer artist team. You get 12 issues, and then you crank out your story in that time. And then if you want to come back and keep it going, you start over, and then you can do it that way. Venom did this back in the old days. Venom was never an ongoing series. It was always a collection of limited series. Then do it that way because you can at least get entice people more to jump in. You're like, oh no, you don't have to worry about there's gonna be backstory and stuff, but you can just jump right into the storyline.
So I've been saying it for months, and I've been the high numbers. They do deter people. They really do, because you have to go through and if I'm at reading Spider-Man 98 and you're just jumping into Spider-Man 91, much like One Piece.
Yeah,
I got friends who won't touch One Piece.
I know where you're going with this. But here's the other thing that fucks it all up.
Hold on. If you just do it by doing seasons, maybe.
Yeah.
Not even volumes, because people.
Well, volumes and seasons are kind of the same thing. That's what I'm getting.
Volumes are in books, but if you did we got season 1, it's going to be issues 1 through 12.
Yeah,
and you're done. Next story. And then
what Batman.
No matter how much Marvel or DC is going to try to do and bring you back to this was mentioned in issue. How they do that tag at the bottom, and they do that constantly. Still, if you want to know more, would you like to know more? On the bottom of the go search this issue. Nobody's going to do that. Let's be fucking honest. Be fucking honest with yourselves. You're not
we live in the age of the internet. We really that was a thing that they used to do to get you to go buy back issues when back issues started coming.
And this is where the YouTubers we were talking about last week that share the reviews of the entire book or character. This is where they're coming in. This is where they're making. This is how they're making their money, getting their subscribers, because people aren't their attention span. Much like in the movie Basketball, can be measured in nanoseconds.
Yeah, that's quite true.
Nobody wants to.
I don't. I reject that issue. I think we have. It's not that nobody wants to. We've taken away doing the work. We've made people lazy. And that's the big problem. That said, a season / volume thing, a volume system could be better, because again, here's going to be the problem. I believe Amazing Spider-Man's been rebooted in the last 10 years about 8 times. So when you're coming in, you're like, well, I need Amazing Spider-Man 4. Well, which one? From 2014, 2016, 2021, because there's various ones, and it doesn't. Then it's negating the whole fucking point of doing what they're doing. So that's why I said you want to do Amazing Spider-Man and you put the storyline on there, and then you just collect that particular storyline.
Right.
Okay, so that said, Marvel is trying to drag my ass back into reading comics, and I am kicking and screaming the whole way because again, they've turned out a lot of crap lately. So they deep dive onto my childhood in a big bad way, and I'm sitting here and I'm just I don't know. You're gonna have to really fucking convince me. So I've been keeping track of Dark Web. Went to a dealer, hey, that thing start yet? And he's like, oh yeah, no, the prelude started this week with Amazing Spider-Man number 14. Okay, and I'm like, another goblin? How many goddamn goblins do we have to have? So I picked it up. Well, hold on. I'll get there.
This is you. Go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit back.
So I basically recapped Ben's return, the whole him being the Jackal, then his quest to redeem himself for being the Jackal, the crappy suit, which then we get the cool suit back, and then they turned around and killed him off again, which turns out no, they didn't, and justifying him being a bad guy now and him hating Peter because Peter, he was lied to. It said Peter wouldn't share his memories because Ben's having a crisis of faith, which I kind of reject because Ben, Ben in the late 90s and before they killed him off the first time, became at ease. It wasn't about like, who was I before? Because he understands I'm the clone. It's about forging my own identity going forward. Right. I am not just a copy of Peter Parker. I am my own man. So now, again, I open this book and I'm reading Ben going through and he's just like, I want those things back. And I get it. Like when they recloned him, they fucked with his mind and everything like that. So this feels a little, the foundation's wonky. The foundation is wonky. But now you're adding in, So now you're adding in Madeline Pryor, who,
yes,
now, again, I'm up on the state of Krakoa and everything
that is annoying. By the way, I won't read an X-Men book because of that.
That was Fraction. That was Fraction's X-Men, right?
I believe so, but I won't touch an X-Men book.
The Power of X, all that crap. Though, believe me, I am not down with the whole resurrection crap. Like there's ideas there, but just the fact that the council of mutants that decide to resurrect mutants, they're like, hey, let's bring back Madeline Pryor. She was a clone of Jean, and not only that, she's technically Cable's mom, and on top of that. She almost wiped out all of existence back in the 80s with the Inferno. And but hey, no, we're all cool now, right? Because we got Apocalypse hanging with us. We can just forgive and forget it. Like, your logic there is very flawed. Very flawed.
That's how it is now, though. Get over it.
So now they brought her back and made her Queen of Limbo, which was Magic's domain for a while. And now you're taking two characters who never crossed paths. And now they're crossing paths and teaming up. So it's the idea of both the clones, the two clones, and now they. So when we get to this book, okay. So let's get into the book. So the book is done in 4 parts. It's the art varies. The art varies from but it felt more or less it's the foundation for where they're going, and they were, I was a little trepidatious at first. I'm just like, I'm just kind of not getting into this. They got Ben's girlfriend, who, she's kind of the read on her I was getting was kind of, I'm like, this is kind of annoying. Ben's motives are, I can't even conjure words. I'm just like, this is kind of reaching at best.
Those weren't words.
Yeah, they weren't words. I'm sorry, you just trailed off there.
You just kind of trailed off there.
But so we go. I think it's summer, spring, summer, fall, winter, and then spring again. It's the 4 seasons. So they're going through. So they're kind of like, you get Ben being drawn to Limbo and meeting Madeline, and he and Madeline. I will give the conversation, like the kind of like the play between Madeline and Ben is good. I kind of like they're like, it's kind of business, but they're very casual about it. They're just like, I like the cut of your jib. Let's work together. Let's play together. That does play and that does work. But then you get Ben's girlfriend, because Ben's got all this grand scheme because he's going to lead this army and he's going to he's using Madeline's resources to, at the end reveal, he's going to steal Peter's memories. Like, he's essentially going to take his soul so he can get back what he feels is his, which is all Peter's old memories. And Madeline is going to do, she's using Ben as the test for doing the same thing to Jean.
Okay.
because she's the clone of Jean. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
both have a common. So she's like, I like this dude, but I don't want to do this thing that I want to do until I test it, and he's gonna be the test. He's gonna be the guinea pig, and he's the willing guinea pig too. So it's like
Yeah.
it's all mutual. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. But on the
Okay.
sidelines, you got Ben's girlfriend going like, "Oh, we're just hanging out in limbo." Like 'cause now they're in limbo. That's what their base of operations is, with a bunch of demons, and
Yeah.
they're all like dry humping each other and stuff. And she's kind of like being that kind of that female character that I kind of hate, where they're just whining and bitching all the time. I'm just like, you could do more. Like it feels like writers don't understand how to like express females in a way of like their angst and needs, other than like, oh, I had a girlfriend that was like this one time, so that's how I'm going to write all women going forward. So
That's what happens though. Like they
yeah,
had one girlfriend and then they just translate that to the pages.
so
That's what
it's based,
happens, Chris.
yeah, so it's
Inevitability.
basically figuring out how we're going to incorporate this character into
Yeah.
this whole storyline, and this is where Madeline and her meet up, and a beautiful callback. I'll say this is where the book started like kind of pulling me a bit. I'm like, you started rocky, then you started evening out, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And it's when Madeline comes up to her and she gives her the finger of oh god, is it Zin? Oh, god, what was his name? The demon that led the Inferno with Madeline, that turned her into the Goblin Queen. So she's got
Oh
his
God, I can't
finger.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got his finger, and she says his name. I'm like, holy shit, I haven't heard that name in years. And she's like, well, here, you don't want to sit on the sidelines, you want to help out. Just let this guy, just let this little finger touch it. He'll unlock your potential. And I'll say this: it's
Yeah.
an interesting spin on a new Goblin, because at first, when he's unleashed, it's similar to what happened when Hobgoblin. Remember when Hobgoblin became the
Yeah.
demon? We sold this soul. So she, I guess, had multiple aliases when she was
Yeah.
working, with Ben and everything. So the idea is that these aliases are also different personas. So the magic is unlocking. So she starts pulling off all these masks until she finally
Yeah.
creates what is her persona, which becomes Hallows Eve. And it looks
Yeah.
like the
So
different masks are going to be different powers. And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
that's you made it at least somewhat interesting. I'll go along with this.
Okay.
It's like what Spider-Man has fallen into, where it's like, let us rehash a variation of the popular character that we have instead of coming up with a new character. But for this, it feels like she's going to kind of be like someone that's going to get off by the end of this anyway. So it's an interesting concept. That said,
Right.
once the whole book was all said and done, I'm like, all right, you've got me enough here that I am willing to stay on to see what you're willing to do. But Zeb Wells,
And
you're nice. You're playing with my childhood here.
so here's the thing. They are coming out with the Spider-Man big event coming up pretty soon. So I don't know if this is leading into that. I'm pretty sure it is. So we'll see what
It is.
happens when we get to that Spider-Man big event. So
Yeah.
that could be explained. But I mean, it's something I'll get up to because it's in my collection, and if it's part of Amazing Spider-Man, then I'll be up to it. Because where I'm at, I'm on issue 11 right now, so I'm 3 issues behind episodes, 3 issues behind you. So I'll be caught up to that. But yeah, I
There's
can't
a lot
wait to
more
get
going
to
on
it.
in this book than what I described. I just hit the big beats.
No, I mean it's solid. I mean, go pick it up, check it out. It's I kind of like books that have like 3 different stories in them, so that's really cool.
And actually, this is actually a thick book. This was $5 too. This was
Yeah,
not. Yeah, it's longer than the
definitely.
normal run. Hold on. It's going to bother me before I take it off. What is his name? Sin was the demon's name. Thank you.
Okay, Sin. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to my next book, and that's going to be the DC book that I wanted to cover today because holy crap, Jeff Johns returning to the JSA. Like if you remember when we went and got our Justice League by John signed.
Yeah.
I still have that book. Jeff Johns returns to the JSA, issue 1. It's out in stores right now. Let me tell you something about this book. First of all, I'm going to say it's a 7 out of 10. There's a few things in here because I gave it a 7 out of 10 because I am not a JSA fan. I am not the Golden Age heroes. I don't care about Alan Scott. I don't care about who's the Flash, that version. Not Barry Allen.
Oh, no, Jay Garrick.
The one with the helmet. Jay Garrick. I'm not a fan. Like, I'm not a fan of Jay Garrick. I'm not a fan of those heroes. Not too much. The only one that I love that for some reason I like that is on the JSA is Power Girl.
Okay.
And that's just weird. Like, I have a weird obsession with her. Jeff Johns, Brandon Peterson, Jerry Ottaway, they're doing the artwork on this book. Comes out of the gate really, really good. First of all, dude, Helena Wayne. Like,
is that the Earth 2 daughter
Earth 2's
of
Huntress?
Helena?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like, wow, okay. So I'm used to, our basic Huntress that we've known, and a lot of you may have grown up with Justice League Unlimited's version, voiced by Amy Acker, who was Fred on Angel. But you're probably not used to, if you watched a little show back on the CW back in the day called Birds of Prey. And they took the concept of it, which was Batman and Catwoman had a daughter, and this was like actually comic canon, but they just used it for the show, and it didn't work out. Yeah. It I think it lasted like one season.
Harley Quinn was there. It was the first live action appearance of Harley Quinn, by the way.
No shit.
She was the big bad for the season. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So Birds of Prey. Then you had Helena Wayne shows up. So this is who it's centered around in this one. So it's Earth 2. Helena Wayne, which you're getting to know the character. I don't know much about the character, so I've got to do this. And they start investigating the death of Dr. Fate, who has been murdered by somebody. And
is this hold on? Can I take a stab at this real quick? Pulling a village here. Is this tying into Black Adam somehow?
I have no idea because I haven't seen Black Adam.
Because JSA and Black, it feels like timing wise that they're,
right.
Go ahead.
So here's where we're gonna go with this. Okay, so you sold me on. So I'm about 3 pages into this book, and here's what sells me: Solomon fucking Grundy on the JSA.
Oh, okay. That's something different.
It turns out that somebody went around and knocked out the entire JSA. So Helena, in all her infinite wisdom, decided I need to pull some heavy hitters, and she went and recruited anybody that would join, villains or anti-heroes, and a lot of them were the villains. Yeah, like Icicle's kid, Harley Quinn's kid, not a Harley Quinn but different one.
Yeah.
But you can go around the table and you'll see the panel for yourself. But I mean, you put Solomon Grundy on the league with me, I'm all fucking in, dude. That was almost like what they did with Batman Detective Comics with Clayface being in the Bat family.
Yeah, that's what it feels remnant of. Yeah,
you had me. That's all you need to show. So when they showed that panel, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, Grundy with fucking Helena Wayne jumping through the city. Let's fucking go.
It's very also reminiscent of Johns' run on Justice League when he put Luthor on the team after Forever Evil.
Yeah, like okay, yeah, I remember that, and I didn't really care for that. But this is one of those things that was really
cool. Solomon Grundy.
So you get a really cool panel of like, oh no, like Helena's like, I'm not gonna do this, but he might, and it's this Grundy holding Homeboy by his leg, like, I'll tear you apart if you don't give her the information you want. And then cut to the next, turn the page over, and it's Helena jumping through the city, and then Grundy jumping right beside her. I'm like, dude, this is just this is fucking cool.
How's the art in
that? The art is fucking amazing. I love the artwork.
I'm assuming if Johns is writing, they got a top-notch art. They got top-notch artists on it.
They put him with a great artist. So the artwork for this book was great. Power Girl comes off as a little bit of a bitch because she starts going around like, at this point, all the original JSA members have eaten the bullet and are fucked up. So like, this is messing with her because half of the people she's now sitting at the table with are former villains that they fought. Fast forward, we get to the end. I'm not going to spoil it, but someone shows up, rips everybody a new a-hole, and then at the final ending moments, we see a snow globe take place. Now, I'm not sure if this is the same one from the Flashpoint snow globe that we've been introduced point in Flashpoint Beyond. That was a big part of the story. But Catwoman coming to the aid of Helena, and then we see the snow globe, and that's where we're gonna end because holy fucking shit, I can't wait for issue 2.
Wait,
But
I'm a little off. What was the snow globe
okay,
on
so in Flashpoint Beyond, we had a snow globe, and for
mhm.
those of you who didn't read it, last week's episode, I talked about Flashpoint Beyond and why you should go read that book. But the snow globe was trying to be captured back by the Time Masters because it contained the Flashpoint Beyond universe
Okay.
inside this snow globe. Like it was a time displacement placement thing. So we see
So
this
they pulled
take
a
shape
Franklin
in.
Richards with it.
So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. I am so looking forward to issue 2. It's on my poll right now. I can't wait to go to get my hands on it and read it because, oh my god, it just left me wanting more. So with that, we are running way over today. I
Mm.
apologize, but hopefully you guys like all the books we said here today are just go buy them. They're really good. JSA right now is in stores. You can pick up issue 1. It's a monthly series, so you'll be able to get issue 2 next month. And let me tell you something: if they keep going where they're going, it's gonna be phenomenal. And this is coming from a guy, like I said, I don't like the JSA. Never cared for the team, so you got it. Like when I say I can read it, like take that for what it is. Like I'm not a JSA fan, but this one's got me. Um, and I just love that. I'm like, oh yeah, like. For me, it was funny because I'm like Helena Wayne, right? Birds of Prey. Wasn't that a show on the CW? I think it was on right after Nightman. Remember Nightman?
No, Nightman was syndicated. That's a whole
Was it
nother.
syndicated? That wasn't.
Yes,
Oh, I thought that
because
was like a
you
DC
don't want to
thing.
go. We don't want to go down this road today. We'll
Okay, I
go
don't
down
want.
it another day.
Yeah, so like
But
another
yeah.
day. But I do want to leave an honorable mention before we wrap up here.
Mhm.
So it was Incredible Hulk, Worldbreaker. So really quick, I'm just dropping that in there. I don't know where this is going to sit on my list. It seems like a quick cash grab to capitalize on the Planet Hulk and like with Scar coming back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think this is trying to put all eyes on that. I do feel like at the end of the book, they're gearing up for another Scar book. So if you want to, it might be worth your money if you're a fan of Amadeus Chow, because this does
Mhm.
take place 1,000 years later on Sakaar.
Okay.
So let's go from there. It's an honorable mention because I did pick it up, but I wasn't too keen on it. I'm not a fan of Amadeus Chow. Uh, I'm kind of not a fan of Scar. So with that, with a grain of salt, I'd say if you've got the extra money you want to throw to bound, go ahead and go pick this book up, take a look at it. I didn't give a grading on it because I didn't really enjoy the story. If I had to say anything, I would say like 5 out of 10, maybe. Artwork leaves a little something to the imagination, and the story just feels really rushed. Like it's a quick cash grab to grab on Planet Hulk. So, with that being said, that should be it today. My
It's
editor's like,
that should
please.
be it. It's your call. Is there more? 'Cause, like,
My editor's staring at me like, we're at 43 minutes, dude. Come on. So that's gonna wrap it up for us today, guys. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We hope we got something out of this that you guys can go and read. Go to your local comic book shop, pick up your books, read them. If you like what you're seeing, follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe. If not, let us know down in the comments. Anything you want us to take a look at, and let you know what our thoughts are on the book, because we can do that too. Follow us on TikTok at Comics Unchained or Comics Unchained 1 because I did that. And we're also on Twitter at Unchained Comics. And from myself and Chris Eaton, as always, guys, keep on reading. Where's the end recording? There it is. Okay. There we go. We're done.